Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to cover a very common question that I've been getting, and that is, how will I know, or how will you know when you have successfully changed your concept of yourself, or you've identified yourself with your new ideal of having something, whether that's $100 million, a new career, a relationship? How will you know when you actually have landed that and you successfully impressed the subconscious mind with actually having that? So I went through Neville Goddard's books and I wanted to find some really good information on this and kind of cover that with Neville Goddard's words and then kind of break it down a little bit more so you can understand exactly when you will know when you have impressed the subconscious mind with a new version of yourself and successfully changed your concept of yourself. And then you can just let it go at that point because you are in alignment with your desire already being fulfilled. All right, so this is out of Neville Goddard's Out of This World. This is chapter 2, Assumptions Become Facts. All right, so I'm going to begin here with Neville's words, and I'm going to break this down, okay? So Neville says, define your ideal and concentrate your attention upon the idea of identifying yourself with your ideal. So you're going into meditation, or you're doing it before you go to sleep, or you're doing it during the day. You're imagining yourself being the version of you that you want to be, that version of you having everything that you want to have. Okay, so you're identifying with that new identity of yourself now. Okay, so assume the feeling of being it, the feeling that would be yours where you're already in the embodiment of your ideal. Then live and act upon this conviction. This assumption, though denied by the senses, if persisted in, will become fact. And that was kind of why I gave you guys that exercise the other day, of changing your concept of yourself, imagining that you now have $20 million, and then go through your day acting that way, driving that way, conversing with everyone that way, not literally telling everyone you have $20 million, but just taking that assumption in of now having $20 million, whether that's in your imagination, you're pulling up this picture in your mind where you see your bank balance at $20 million, and then you know that that's true, and you're going throughout the day and acting and talking and conversing and making decisions based on this, of having all of this money. And just basically changing your confidence level, like your belief in yourself is what this is going to do. And just like what Neville Goddard says right here, this assumption, though denied by the senses right now, if you persist in that, will harden into a fact. And what you will find from this when it starts hardening into a fact is you're going to be more motivated. You're going to be more motivated and you're going to have more ideas, and you're going to have other people coming into your world because you're going to view your world differently. And that's what he goes over right here, which is you will know when you have succeeded in fixing the desired state in consciousness by simply looking mentally at the people you know. Okay, so in dialogues with yourself, you are less inhibited and more sincere than in actual conversations with others. Therefore, the opportunity for self-analysis arises when you are surprised by your mental conversations with others. So this is your inner talking. Your inner talking, like we go over so much, this is what's creating your 3D reality and shifting you to these different parallel realities. And it's projecting onto the screen of space based on those mental images that are being created in your imagination from your inner dialogue, because thoughts create mental images. And then when those mental images come into your mind, those create frequencies and energies and feeling states. And then that's what's projected and creates your world, and what you see and what you consent to be true changes. Because the moment that you have fixed yourself with the belief that you now have $20 million, even though you actually don't, but you've assumed that state and you've made it real to yourself, your inner dialogue changes, your inner talking changes. You have new pictures in your mind, so you're going to be projecting an entirely different world, shifting to different parallel realities as you're doing this. So here's where Neville explains it even further. Okay, so if you see them as you formerly saw them, you have not changed your concept of yourself. For all changes of concepts of self result in a changed relationship to your world. So what Neville Goddard is saying here is, if your inner dialogue hasn't changed, like your inner talking, like the thoughts that go on in your mind unconsciously haven't changed towards your world and towards the people in your world, then you have not successfully changed your version or your concept of yourself, or your new ideal. So in your meditation, allow others to see you as they would see you were this new concept of yourself a concrete fact. So whether that's the $20 million, you're assuming that as being a concrete fact now. Imagine how everyone else would be viewing you now that you had that money in your imagination. Like, how would somebody treat you? How would the people in your world treat you differently now? Like, with a lot more respect and acknowledgement, acknowledging now that you are this new version of yourself, and they're giving you this respect. They're acknowledging you that you are now this new concept and version of yourself, and now you're seeing your world this way. How everyone else is corresponding to your new reality, because you always seem to others an embodiment of the ideal you inspire. So therefore, in meditation, when you contemplate others, you must be seen by them mentally as you would be seen by them physically, were your concept of yourself an objective fact right now, like currently. So that is, in meditation, you imagine that they see you expressing that which you desire to be. So just like what Neville Goddard taught my grandfather in the back of the Wilshire Ebell Theater, and what my meditation is based on, the creating the $3 million as you go to sleep, is imagining just this, exactly what Neville Goddard prepared, for my grandfather, all his VIP students, which was seeing other people in your world viewing you in your new concept of yourself as you're falling asleep in your imagination. They're viewing you as this new version of yourself that's a multimillionaire. So they're viewing you this way, and that's creating the feeling state that you're going to create within you that's going to impress the subconscious mind to then express that in your world the following days or the following weeks or the following months, which is going to transfer you to those different parallel realities that's actually going to mirror exactly what you impressed it with, which was your world changing. And you changing, you having that money, it's going to be a concrete fact if you persist in this and you keep imagining it, and then you impress the subconscious mind with it. All right, so I want to cover this one last topic here because I really like this. Then I'm going to go back to the original question and explain in an exercise how you can determine if you have changed your concept of yourself. And I'm going to give you that exercise as soon as I cover this last topic here, which with Neville Goddard covered, which I really like. It's about believing and being, and how those are intertwined or inextricably intertwined together, and they're the same exact thing. So if you assume that you are what you want to be, your desire is fulfilled. If you assume that you are what you want to be, your desire is fulfilled. And in fulfillment, all longing is neutralized. You cannot continue desiring what you have already realized, or you can't continue desiring something that you already have right now. All right, so your desire is not something you labor to fulfill. It is recognizing something that you already possess. It is assuming the feeling of being that which you desire to be. Believing and being are one. And this kind of covers a lot of the exercise I go over to where you're releasing the wanting of something, is because if you already have something, you're no longer going to desire it. You're no longer going to want it. And that's what Neville Goddard teaches. You cannot continue desiring something that you already have. Your desire is not something that you labor to fulfill. It is recognizing something that you already have right now, because creation is finished and you're already connected to everything that you want. But it's just assuming that state is then you actually have it then. That is when you have it. So it is assuming the feeling of being that which you desire to be. So believing and being are one. They are together. They're inextricably intertwined. They have the exact same thing. Believing and being are one. So when you can be something, when you have changed your concept of yourself and you are now the thing, that is believing it. So you have that belief, you have that faith. You have that faith of the mustard seed now. So when you are being something, that means you have the faith and you are now it, and you no longer need to believe it because you're now it. So that's like the equivalent. Believing and being are the equivalent. All right, so now I'm going to give you the exercise where you can determine whether you have changed you've successfully changed your concept of yourself. And it's going to go right along with Neville Goddard and what he says here, because this is absolutely true. So in dialogues with yourself, you are less inhibited and more sincere in actual conversations with others. So I want you to go into a meditation, just a brief meditation, and I want you to observe your inner conversations with others. Observe your inner conversations with others. So have an imaginal act where you have your friends and family in front of you, and just see where your mind is going, where your thoughts are going, and what they're saying. If they're still the same, then you haven't changed or successfully changed your concept of yourself, like Neville Goddard says right here. So in this meditation, in dialogues with yourself, you will be less inhibited and more sincere than in actual conversations with others. So you're going to notice this, that the opportunity for self-analysis will arise when you are surprised. So you're going to be surprised by your mental conversations with others in your meditation. Like they're going to be viewing you different. They're going to be looking at you different. You're going to notice that. But if you see everyone in your world as you formerly saw them, like within this meditation, within this exercise, then you have not changed your concept of yourself. For all changes of concept of self result in a changed relationship to your world. So if your relationship, like your inner dialogue in the meditation, you notice that your relationship to your world hasn't changed in those inner dialogues, then your concept of yourself hasn't changed yet. So if you notice that your inner dialogue hasn't changed in this meditation and it's still the same, that means you haven't successfully done that. So I'm going to post a video where that's going to be a guided visualization that's going to assist you. It's actually Neville Goddard's VIP technique that he taught to all of the VIP members in the back of the Wilshire E-Bell Theater. I don't know if you haven't used that one yet. Go ahead and use that now. Or if you've already used it, maybe you need to use it a little bit more. So I'm going to post that on the screen for you right now, and that is creating $3 million as you're falling asleep. That's what Neville Goddard taught. But when he did teach that, it was more like 30 million. So, but it's still 3 million. So I'm going to keep the language the same as Neville Goddard kept it. So that's why I created the 3 million. But I'm going to post that on the screen for you now. So that will successfully change your concept of yourself. And it goes right along with this chapter because he goes over this exactly as he gave it to his VIP members, that your friends and family are now congratulating you and looking at you differently now. They're actually looking at you differently, observing you differently. Now they're congratulating you on your good fortune. Now you are this new person and they're viewing you this way. And that's changing your concept within yourself as you're falling asleep. So I'm going to post it on the screen for you. Click on that, listen to that for 21 days and fall asleep with that. And I'll guide you through it. I'll guide you through it completely and visualize it, then create the scene yourself, and then practice this and get this so you start developing this part of your imagination to start visualizing and really feeling this and taking this in and changing your version of yourself. All right, I love you, and that's the end of this video, but don't forget to give me one thing you are grateful for or any questions that you have for me. Leave those in the comment box below and I will answer those in future videos, or any success stories, anything like that. And I will choose which ones I can make videos on, or I'll answer a lot of them in one video, just like I did this one, and I'll do that in the future. So leave that in the comment box below. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.